A Moment with Dr. Audreyann Moses.
This is Dr. Audreyann Moses, and welcome to A Moment with Dr. Audreyann. Today I want to talk about whether or not we want to see a psychologist. If I talk to someone, will God get mad? Why do I say that? Because a lot of times that's what people think. People think that if they need to talk to someone, that God is going to be unhappy, that God is going to feel we don't depend on him. So let's talk about this for a little bit. Deciding to talk to a psychologist is as stressful as the reason we feel we need to talk to anyone at all. When the decision is made by Christians, it is even harder because we have been taught prayer heals all wounds. And I know you remember hearing that. You know, our grandparents, our great-grandparents, our parents, our clergymen, everybody, it's always said, oh, just pray about it, honey, you'll feel better. You know, you'll be all right, just pray. We know the Lord is my rock and my salvation. That's Psalm 62. We know that. You know, we read the Psalms, and the Psalms are awesome. When you are feeling distressed, when you are feeling anxiety, read the Psalms. Some of them are really good for helping you in that situation. However, if you're not feeling better, you still want to do something about it. You want to do something. Ministers are minimally equipped to counsel members suffering from mild syndromes. Now, ministers out there, don't get mad at me because you know I'm telling the truth. Ministers are awesome. They are good to talk to, and they will guide you in the right direction most of the time. But ministers are not psychologists, and so it's just like psychologists are not ministers. If someone came to me and they were really having a spiritual dilemma, I would direct them to a minister, you know, because that's not my field. I can help, you know, in a little bit when it comes to spiritual, needing spiritual guidance, a little bit. But then I'm going to refer them to a minister. And I have a few on my list that I would call and say, listen, I have a client, blah, 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 can you help them? Well, ministers have to be willing to do the same thing. If I come to my minister with a mental health issue that's outside of their realm of duty. So, you know, but they do have references, and that's what you want them to be able to help you with. If you, there comes a time when we should treat our mental pain the same way we treat pain in the rest of our body. If you have a headache, if your legs are bothering you, if your hips are bothering you, if you're having a hard time walking, your back hurts, do you go to your neighbor? Do you go to your grandparents? Do you go to your minister and say, listen, my back hurts. I don't know what's going on with it. You know, or I've been having this headache that I can't get rid of. What can I do about it? No, you're going to go to a doctor because you want a doctor to fix it, whatever it is. Well, it's the same when you have mental pain, when you're having depression, when you're having anxiety. Go to see someone that is trained to help you in that, which would be a psychologist, a life coach, you know, someone in that field. That, like myself, you know, in that field, that would be able to help you to resolve whatever the issue is, or put you in touch with the type of mental professionals that would be able to help you, with mental health professionals that would be able to help you. In the 18 and 1900s, mental health hospitals were operated by monks and priests. More religious-oriented treatment was the dominant form of psychiatric care in the United States and Europe. What that means is if you were having a mental health issue, it was automatically assumed that it was because something religious was wrong in your life. We know now that that is not true. We know that that is not true. We know that you can have a very, very serious relationship with God and still have depression. You know, you can have a very, very serious relationship with God and still have some anxiety. So if, you know, back then, they automatically assumed that something religious was wrong with you. So we had a lot of people who were never really did not have a successful recovery because they were being treated wrong. Once we got away from that and started dealing with mental health at the same way we deal with physical health, then we started seeing results. We started seeing people getting better and doing better and having more productive lives. So don't scratch off the need for mental health not issues, but you know, being able to take care of your mental health just like you take care of your physical health. During most of my life, I lived with demons. I did, who followed me from my childhood into my adult life. With great practice, I learned how to pray and move forward, because that's what I was taught. I was taught to pray and move forward. Because I was taught just to pray, I thought if I ignored the pain in my spirit, reading the right scriptures and praying the right prayers and living the right Christian life, I would be able to forget the past and my pain. Unfortunately, like thousands of other Christians, none of it worked. I slumped further and further into depression to the point where I almost did not recognize myself. No one knew the pain I was going through except me, a friend, and God. After a while, I began to feel God no longer cared nor heard my cries and my pain. And that's what happens. If you continue to ignore the depression, those dark feelings in your life, those times when you just can't get up, you can't get moving, you go to work and you do your work and everything is mechanical, you know, and you come home and you just sit in a dark house, you know, and you see that getting worse and worse, even though you are praying, even though you are going to church every week, even though you are, you know, doing these things, but it's because you need mental doctors just like you would need a physical doctor. So I just continued to slump and slump and slump and slump. And after a while, I just decided God didn't really care either. You know, because if God cared, all of this praying I'm doing and all of this scripture reading I'm doing, why isn't it working? Something's wrong. So it should work, but it's not. So obviously God is taking care of everybody else. He don't have time for me. So we will do that.
I'm Mac Hardy. Come on down to McCormick Tire and Oil. We open Tuesday through Saturday from 7:30 to 5. And we specialize in oil, tires, and brakes, wheelbarrows, CV axles. And but military discount is every day. And on Wednesday we have Senior Citizen Day. So come on down to McCormick Tire and Oil. We got everything you need. Thanks.
So as time went on, I just got worse and worse, really. But people around me didn't know, except for my best friends, you know, and my sister. People around me didn't know because I hid it very well. You know that commercial where the people walk around with the little fan that has a smiley face on it? Yeah, that was me. You know, I put that up. I put that smiley face up whenever I was amongst people because it wasn't their business. I didn't need to tell them that I was really hurting, you know. So I would put that smile on and I would say, hey, how you doing? Oh, everything's wonderful. You know, and I would go home and cry until I went to sleep. So I know that there are people out there listening to me right now that are doing that exact same thing. We cannot ignore our mental health because it is not good. It is not good. It will only get worse. It won't get better. We have to learn how to deal with it. And the only way you can learn how to deal with it is to talk to someone that's going to help you to learn the tools that you need in order to recover from those episodes that you are having. So for me, my friend who knew what I was going through, urged me to seek help. I was still very reluctant because I felt it would look as if my faith in God was wavering, that I didn't have enough faith in God, that I have to go talk to a human about what's going on with me. But I had to learn that that was not true. As Christians, we tend to beat ourselves up because we have been taught God is all we need. And if we just trust him, he will bind our wounds and heal the sorrows of our heart. And he will. And he does. But he also gives us tools on earth in order to make that happen. Again, if you have high blood pressure, are you just going to pray, God, okay, you know I have high blood pressure, you know, what we're going to do? How did you even find out you have high blood pressure? Obviously, a doctor told you. So at some point you went to a doctor. God put doctors on this earth to help us physically. God put doctors on this earth to help us mentally and emotionally. He put them here as a tool for us to use in order for him to heal us. So we have to utilize the tools that God has given us. Mental health professionals are definitely one of those tools. We allow friends and clergy and spiritual writings to tell us we must only trust in God, and we must only, and it's okay for us to suffer for a little while. God will restore us, you know, in due time. You know, we have been taught that, and God will heal our blood pressure. God will heal the diabetes. God will help us to recover from a stroke. God will help us to, if we're having back pain or arthritis really bad, God will recover us from all of those things. Why? Because we go to the doctor and the doctor says you need to go exercise, so we go exercise. The doctor says you need to take these pills, so you take these pills. The doctor says you need to go and walk, get you some sunlight, so we go and walk. And God, through that, God is providing all those things for us. But when we are suffering from the blues, as the old folks used to call it, and when we are suffering from the blues, and when we have depression, we just sit in a corner and say God don't love us because we are hurting and God's not doing anything about it. Well, God has put professionals out there to help you. Christian life coaches like myself, psychologists, psychiatrists, life coaches. All of these people are out there to help you. And all you have to do is reach out to them and let them know what's going on with you. And sometimes all it takes is just you talking it through. And you may not need medication, but if you do need medication, don't say, oh, I'm not taking medication, but you take 15 pills from your physical doctor. But you won't take one pill that will help you to not have anxiety every day. or to not be depressed every day. A pill is a pill. If you're going to take 15 pills given to you by your physical doctor, what is one more pill given to you by your mental health doctor to help you have more clarity in your life? Just think about that for a minute. Just think about that. Yes, it is important to guard the avenues of our minds. What do I mean by that? I mean that even if we're not suffering from depression, even if we're not having anxiety, just on a normal everyday life, guarding the avenues of our mind means that we have to make sure our mind is clear for God, not for Satan. Because God talks to us through our mind. That's how he communes with us, through our mind. But Satan can do the same thing. So if you are listening to any kind of music that's talking about all kind of things that are not good, if you are watching shows that are demonistic, if you are watching shows that are showing people not in the best light morally, not in the best light in their attitude, a lot of cursing, a lot of all of these things. And I'm not saying this because I'm a Christian. Every now and then I'll watch a bad movie, but I'm just saying all of those things are, if we put those things in our heads, then those things are keeping us from hearing God and helping Satan to talk louder to us. We have to make sure at all times that we know the voice of God, distinctive from the voice of Satan. And if you are watching those things and you're listening to bad music and you're watching things that you shouldn't be watching, or reading things that you shouldn't be watching, or saying things that you should not be saying, acting in a way that you should not act, you are opening up your mind for Satan, not for God. So you have to think about that. As you go about your day, think about those things. Am I opening up my mind to communicate with God, or am I opening up my mind to communicate with Satan? So guard the avenues of your mind, because through your mind is how God talks to you. And if you can't hear God because of all the junk that you are putting in it, then that's a problem. Because if you are having depression, or if you're having anxiety, or if you're having something more, schizophrenia or any other heavier type mental health issues, you already have voices. You already have a lot of noise going on in your head. And so you don't want to add into that, so that makes it even harder for you to hear God. You always want to be able to hear God, because as you are hearing God, then God is talking to you, and God is nurturing you, and God is helping you to be able to overcome those things. The more you can hear God, the better off you're going to be. And God is going to be saying, go see Dr. So-and-so and so, because that person can help you. Take your medicine every day. Whereas Satan is going to be saying, don't take your medicine, because if you don't take your medicine, then that's going to give him more opportunity to be in your head and to make you feel worse. And you don't want to feel worse. The Bible clearly says, that Satan's job is to kill, steal, and destroy. And Satan is on his job. Are you letting God be on his job by keeping your mind clear? And again, if you're having depression and anxiety type issues and things, let somebody help you to clear your mind so that you can hear God more. As a veteran, one of the issues that I had to deal with was the fact that there were resources available to me, but I didn't use them. And because I didn't use them, it really made things harder for me. And the reason I didn't use them is because I didn't want nobody to know. So I didn't use them, and I tried to deal with it on my own. Now, I had a very successful career in the United States Navy. I'm very proud of the fact that I'm a Navy veteran. I'm very proud of the things that I was able to do while I was in the Navy. What I'm not proud of is that I did not utilize the resources that were available to me when it came to mental health. And because of that, it took me a lot longer to get myself together. So if the resources are available, a lot of companies have resources available for mental health. It's part of your benefit. It's free. Use it. Colleges have provisions for college students. You can go for free to talk to a counselor whenever you want. Use it. Don't just stand on the wall and then say that I don't have any help. There's plenty of free help. And so utilize those things to help you feel better. When I finally decided to get help, I was already retired from the military, retired from the Navy. My friend took me to the VA, to the Veterans Hospital, and I saw someone, and I was diagnosed with major depression, or what people call chronic depression. And so I had to take medication, and I had to go and talk to them, once a week. I had to go back and talk to them. And even that was a struggle for me because the hospital was about an hour from my house. So I had to make myself go. But eventually it became better and better and better. And I started feeling better and better and better about myself. And this was a long time ago that I started seeing someone. And I do still see someone now, even though I am a mental health professional. I have a mental health professional that I go to, because if I didn't, I would be loony. And a decent mental health professional is going to have a mental health professional for them, because you need that in order to make sure that I stay healthy. Because if I am not healthy, how am I going to take care of you? So the thing is that I am glad that I stopped listening to the bad voices. I'm glad I stopped listening to my ancestors saying, you can't do that. We don't do that. We don't go see those people. I stopped listening to that. I stopped listening to the voice in my head that was saying to me that you don't need God. God don't care nothing about you. You need me. You don't need God. Just let me help you. Knowing I was going down a bad road. But I kept listening to that voice. I am so glad I stopped listening to that voice. And I am so glad that my friend made me go. We had a friend that we took her, and that friend took me. So, because we could see in each other what was going on. But I'm just glad that I took it. I took that advice, and I went and I started seeing a mental health professional, because I probably wouldn't even be a mental health professional now if I had not done that. Even though I knew that that's what I wanted to do, I had gotten to a point in my life where I had just stopped. I stopped going to school. I stopped doing everything that I did not have to do. I had to go to work. I had to feed my children. That's about all I did. So I had to take care of myself. So I will be right back. Welcome back. So I just want to, I guess I'm telling you my story. All these people out there in the world, you know my story. And you know why I do what I do. Because I feel it's really important that people have someone that they can go to, somebody that's going to really take their care, you know, in their heart. Because it's very important that you take care of yourself. It's very important that, again, I just keep saying it over and over and over again. You know, if you break your leg, you're gonna go to the doctor for them to put a cast on it and give you some real good medicine to make you feel better. Well, the same thing happens with mental health. If you are breaking because you are depressed, or you have an anxiety, you having stress that you can't find where it's coming from. And I'm going to tell you, if you are having anxiety, it's because of stress. And if you're having stress, something has happened that you have to fix. Because stress doesn't just appear for no reason. Something has happened or didn't happen that you are going to have to fix in order to relieve that stress. If you don't relieve that stress, it's going to turn into anxiety, and the anxiety is going to get worse, and it's going to turn into depression. So 1 minute you're going to have that anxiety. You might not be bipolar. You might not be, swinging on the vines 1 minute and hovering in a corner the next. You might not be doing that. But if you have a lot of anxiety, you can't seem to shake it, you can't seem to get yourself together, eventually you're going to become depressed. And depression gets worse and worse and worse if you don't fix it. There's no way to fix it on your own. You have to talk to somebody. Yes, pray over it. Yes, pray over it. Yes, read your Bible. Yes, do those things. Go to church. Yes. But you still need to sit down and talk to somebody so that somebody can help you to figure out where the stress started. When you find out where the stress started, then you can start fixing it. And then the next thing you know, happy days are here again, because you have fixed it. If you don't do it, depression, the next thing after depression is suicide. And that is the absolute truth. That is the absolute truth. There is not one statistic of a person that committed suicide that did not have depression. Not one. Not one. And if there were one, we could still probably find depression in there somewhere. I remember back in the 30s, I think it was, when they were saying how during the stock market crash that people were jumping out of windows because they had lost all their money. Maybe they were depressed, maybe they weren't. Maybe they was just like, oh my God, I'm broke and I'm gonna jump out of a window. Now, I would not count that as a statistic, a real statistic for suicide. Because when we are working with people that have suicide, that have committed suicide, you can go back in their life and look at their things and you see what has happened. But I don't want to end on a sad note. What I want to say is, don't let yourself suffer in silence. Don't let yourself suffer by yourself, and don't think that you can fix it by yourself, because you can't. Yes, God is going to always be there, always, always, always. But God also put mental health professionals there to help you. And I just want you to know, myself included, I just want you to know that we are there for you, but we don't know you are there. You have to come and let us know. Be blessed. I'll see you again, and take care. And have happy mental health.
Tune in to the Quartet Show every Sunday at 8 p.m. with the Godfather Quartet, Brother Corey Johnson, on WCTL Channel 20. Come on and get you some of that good old hand-clapping, foot-stomping music. Again, that's the Quartet Show with the Godfather Quartet, Brother Corey Johnson.